Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. Featuring today a 1 versus 1 on Les Angoville. Yes, indeed, the fields of Angoville shall be where this fight takes place. We shall be watching Fractional taking it on the fight for the 116th Panzer Division Windhund. Opposing them shall be the Theyetiknowstheway. The able wise Yeti fighting for the Americans, fighting for the 4th Infantry Division. And some hiccups we shall be watching on the sideline. Standing up with the barracks right at the edge of the base, right here by the road to the German base. And starting up there with spreading out to both sides, which is what Fractional is doing as well, standing out with Volksgrenadiers, by the way, not a bike, not an MG, but Volksgrenadiers, the ever stalwart German infantry. Well, less stalwart than, say, Propagandacast, but there you go. Points are being secured right here at the edges from both sides. In fact, they're both sort of going for higher resources, probably hoping for infantry to sort of connect up. So quite interesting that. In fact, he's securing that. He's probably hoping to sort of link it all up through that strategic point. So in fact, that is an incredibly strategic point. Without, the rest of his strategy will fall apart without this strategic point. Ladies and gentlemen, the Volksgrenadiers are advancing with the K98Ks and the Sturmgewehr 44 in single shot mode for the squad leader in sort of loose terms. The K98K being sort of a shorter rifle. I believe it might actually have something to do with things laid on the German army by the Versailles Treaty. That is, they couldn't actually have long rifles anymore, like rifles like the other armies, so they basically had to shorten it down. And from that came this rifle, the K98K, apparently, although I might be missing a few points there. Sandbags up there, of course, to help secure the first pioneers while taking a point. That is something you can do while you're taking a more exposed point. I mean, something like up here, I mean, right away you probably shouldn't be expecting fighting, but say right around here, you know, one of the sort of more contested points in the match, which tends to be high fuel points or high munitions, but usually fuel points close to the center. I mean, laying down sandbags there, for example, is a good idea. Small engagement here, pioneers are run off by the riflemen. A good shooting sends them running. Second squad of infantry up for Fractional. Of course, the Americans on the other hand didn't really bother with such rifles. They had quickly moved on to the M1 Garand by that time, since they were more focused on rifles, whereas the Germans were more concerned with the MGs, in which case they didn't really need semi-automatics for the infantry. The MG would do most of this sort of heavy firing. The Americans, on the other hand, did not bother with that. They went for the rifles, and thus their MGs, on the other hand, were pretty old in comparison. So, of course, there were some slight differences then, sort of methodology for the infantry in the two armies. The Soviets, I think, actually sort of went more for the American approach. There's more focus on the rifle, and they also had the SVT-40 semi-automatic rifle, although, again, most of the rifles were the Mosin Nagant. And, of course, they couldn't ever quite supply everyone with semi-automatics. But there you go, point secured here. The Americans are pushing pretty hard to secure that munitions as well, keep it safe, so the riflemen are rushing in. Rifles in hand. And there we go. Pioneers are quickly finding themselves under fire. Whoops. Microphone went a bit too close. And there we go. Both Volksgrenadier squads are moving in a large force. And of course, Fractional doing the safe thing, actually keeping them together. Volksgrenadiers work better in numbers when they have something to work with. They are not the sort of, you know, American gung-ho unit. They need to work with something. They're more of a, you know, cooperative infantry unit. Some poor bastard went down there. Sniper, actually, Volksgrenadier sniper. And MG, pretty standard spill order for the Wehrmacht in that sense. And of course, have to see how that one evolves. And of course, what he goes towards. But by the looks of things, we are seeing 3 squads of riflemen. We're seeing mines going down. That's lovely. Trying to secure points. He's actually gaining quite a lot. He's ignored this munitions for now. Could be to the advantage of the 116th, composed from a reserve Panzer Division stationed somewhere near the coast of Bretagne. Or is it Brittany? Somewhere around there anyways. And actually sort of more of a coastal defense duty rather than actually being any sort of anything resembling a Panzer Division. And they were also combined with the 16th Panzer Grenadiers, which had been shattered on the eastern front and were combined to form a Panzer Division. That was one of the ways the Germans sort of needed. When they needed to form, you know, a division, they would take sort of a skeleton of, you know, veterans, and then throw in all the novices on top of that. And that was in particular the component of the Volksgrenadiers. Later on, when they came about, that was basically just shattered infantry divisions, and then basically, you know, throw in some new troops on it, usually Luftwaffe or Kriegsmarine surplus personnel. This is a good spot to mine, of course. I mean, this is, crossroads. Everybody's going to have to move through here, so mining this is a good move, but Fractional is patrolling rather viciously with his Volksgrenadiers, making this a slightly more unfortunate and quite less safe than what you'd prefer endeavour. Response to his weapon support, and he probably wants to get and shoot the German sniper in the face and go, ha ha. Of course, the question becomes, will he be able to achieve this victory? Bunker up, that's probably going to be a medic bunker to help with casualties in the long run. And put on some attritional pressure on his opponent. Nice move. Skirmish phase on the way. Pioneers are coming under attack. Rifle now moving in with a vengeance. And the Volksgrenadiers are moving in here. MG4 loosening up. Fractional so far focusing a bit more on the west. Pioneers seem to have been forgotten a bit here. Or they are trying to dodge any sort of work. And Theyetiknowstheway apparently thinks that his opponent will tell him what he's going. Yes, of course, I shall tell you what I'm doing and allow you to sort of come up with a counter strategy because I'm that nice and not absolutely intent on winning the game. No, just ignore the fact that I'm level 16. Anyways, sort of heading up the right hand side, supply yard on the way. And of course, question of course is for him is if, you know, his opponent has gone for 2 snipers. Of course, he has to be a bit more careful with his own and needs more snipers. Otherwise, you know, he's going to, you know, shoot 1 sniper and then lose his own. Whereas he probably is hoping just to get the sniper and then, of course, have his own sniper kill Germans indiscriminately. Meanwhile, this fellow is actually killing indiscriminately because, again, he doesn't have much to worry at the moment, in particular since he's walking about in his own base. Kriegwerk's up. Pack on the way. At this stage, I mean, Fractional is probably more worrying about armored cars since he's seen nothing that could indicate, you know, that he's not going for that. That is, you know, BARs, grenades, or a sniper. So again, as far as he's concerned, he needs to prepare, and that means a pack. A Panzerabwehrkanone. And looks like Theyetiknowstheway is trying, of course, to draw out the German sniper. He's hoping this sort of engagement here will draw it in, but no, instead we are seeing an MG42 setting up, and it's going to hit the flank of the rifleman, right where the heavy cover does not cover. Excellent, excellent. I mean, this is a good flanking, you know. I believe that is also called enfilade fire, no firing down where, you know, there's absolutely nothing there covering. So nice maneuver right there by Fractional, absolutely shattered this position, quickly sent them away, and again, remember, cover is directional. I mean, you have to stand on the right side, otherwise the bullets, you know, just hit. I mean, just sort of, again, a rule of thumb. In real life, if you're being shot at, which side would you prefer to be on? And if the side you want to be honest, when the one that the bullets will be landing, I mean, you're doing it wrong. There we go. Meyer to, of course, deny his opponent cover. That's also nice. But nice movement over here. More mines could be used. In fact, there's not an awful lot of mines from Theyetiknowstheway, which could make it more difficult for Fractional track to make any advances at all in the first place. But there we go. Armored car on the way. Sniper has yet to reveal himself again. He's waiting. He's biding his time. He is planning, scheming, and sneaking. Oh, mine goes off here, killing poor Randolph, allowing the rest to move in. And these folks have actually not been reinforced. I mean, the sort of engagement so far actually meant that Fractional was yet to actually really retreat any units and reinforce them, which is quite a disadvantage. MG crew on me. No doctrine as of yet for him. Engineers moving up here, and there we go. We are seeing some grenadiers, slightly more veteran troops of the 116th. The veterans, I suppose, from the shattered 16th. Armored car here, sending anyone skirting away. Pack moving in. Certainly a bit of pressure going on there. Engineers on the run. Sniper moving up here. Slightly more cautious approach from Theyetiknowstheway. He's not barreling in. He's actually taking a slightly more methodical approach, which could be to his disadvantage because that actually allows the Wehrmacht player more time to react. And usually when you're playing as the Americans, speed is your advantage. The faster you can move, the harder it's going to be to the Wehrmacht to sort of lock you down. So that is something you have to remember. Looks like the armored car is again shifting sights. That is good. You know, shift things so your opponent can't just lock down one sector too easily, but has to constantly shift resources back and forth. Grenadiers hiding in the house with a Panzerschreck. Nice covering position. First Panzerschreck though reveals itself nicely by blowing out a bush. could be some French resistance member was hiding in it. Well, there was absolutely nothing there. Yet he knows the way, though seems not quite actually to know the way. He seems a bit hesitant. He's, moving a bit back and forth, but ultimately he's not sure what he wants to do. He's getting another sniper again, sort of slowing down the assault. Snipers are not for swift assaults, they're for sort of draining the opponent out, and that is certainly one way of doing it. Kampfkraft sent up, veterans on the way for the infantry. And the second squad has actually also been trained by the looks of it. He could move in there, although in fact there's not a lot actually holding this area. An assault there could be successful. And again, we are seeing Fractional sort of shifting things. Oh, mine goes off here, killing one and pinning the rest. But again, more cautious plotting from Theyetiknowstheway. He is being rather unsure of himself, I get the impression.
One shot, one kill.
He's hoping, I think, to lure Fractional into making some sort of mistake and then punishing him greatly. And certainly he's keeping the armored car as far away, sort of to avoid getting completely blasted into bits by an anti-tank, and which he knows must be there. I mean, that's pretty much a given. In particular, since he's seen all those grenades, so there must also be a pack. As the pack is largely the best response to an armored car, and certainly also a good response to Shermans. They'll usually want to get more than one then, otherwise the Sherman's just going to drive past the pack and clear it out. Mines there. And there we go, straight into the heavy machine gun. Assault force moving up on the right flank. Snipers moving up to support. Armored car not moving in to assist. That could be a flaw. And they're going in against the MG, and he's actually retreating in the face of it. He realizes he can't make it. Sadly, the armored car was not pushed into the assault. I think that's a huge shame. Mine goes off, killing the engineer. And overall, that did not work out quite well. Snipers are still not firing. I mean, he's got 2 snipers, but again, they're doing nothing. So essentially, that's 720 manpower doing absolutely bollocks. I mean, again, he's so intent on getting the sniper that ultimately, I mean, he's doing nothing. I mean, and what essentially that means is, and let's just pause to briefly sort of really hammer it through. 1 sniper, 340 manpower, is basically keeping up close to 700 manpower's worth. I mean, that's quite great for Fractional. And yes, I mean, if you want to counter snipe, then of course it's best to wait. But sometimes, of course, another way, that's basically just sniping the others to sort of keep the other sniper more passive. Because again, then he wants to be careful as well. Instead, he's basically just waiting, and instead, again, keeping so much manpower inactive. I mean, if it actually just been firing away past just with these 2 snipers, he might actually have been able to drain down Fractional and actually keep up the pressure on him much faster. Instead, again, 700 manpower, 680 manpower, but I mean, that's 20 manpower apart, so who's counting? It's doing nothing. It's achieving nothing. I mean, that is huge for Fractional, and he doesn't even know it. Which just makes it even more bizarre. My greatest victory is the ones I don't know about. Yeah. So, I mean, that's actually, again, rather important. How you use your manpower, how it actually affects things is extremely important. And again, we've got these... Oh, there we go. Finally actually opening up with them. Having them do nothing quite a few minutes, and you could probably have some better targets than Fultz grenadiers. I mean, 2 grenadiers would have been considerably more expensive for Fractional to replace. Mine's going down. In fact, he could blast those 2 pioneers up, but again, now he's getting really worried. Fractional's moving up with sniper. Of course, Fractional wants to be cautious as well. We're seeing infantry, by the way, for the Yeti who knows the way. And there we go. Another pioneer dead. And his comrade runs away, tears streaming down his face as his childhood friend got a bullet through his face. And of course, there's a rather interesting thing about the Germans actually compose divisions out of people from the neighborhoods. I mean, they'd sort of, form one division, and then everyone would be from the same town or same district. So usually there'd also be some sort of greater cohesion because, to a large extent, people actually knew each other. Of course, later in the war, that sort of fell apart. But I mean, in the early stages of the war, that actually applied quite well. Again, there were a lot of interesting things about how the Germans actually recruited and trained divisions. Overall. Grenadiers pulling back here, mines going off left and right.
Ready to get
Again, snipers not achieving much. I mean, they're doing a bit more than previously, but I mean, the overall thing here is, of course, that Fractional, as far as he's concerned, you know, he couldn't be happier. Of course, now he knows there's 2 snipers out, so he's bound to get a lot more nervous. And in fact, his response is Sturm Armory. I mean, snipers can't touch vehicles, so let's get some vehicles. Which is pretty sensible when you think about it. Armored car here, though, supporting the rifleman, taking a nasty hit from the Panzerschreck, doing its best to dig out the Grenadiers. 50 caliber rounds shattering through the windows, 37mm rounds breaking through the walls, knocking over upholstery, but sadly not really killing anyone. More Grenadiers moving in, full Grenadiers, armored car pulling back. Still not a lot of mines. In fact, he's got a ton of munitions, and he could even use the artillery right here. You know, one well-placed artillery as the Germans would advance could actually have probably done some damage, or at least forced him away, allowing Yeti knows the way to fortify this position. Again, from Yeti, we're not seeing a lot of defenses, not a lot of mines, not a lot of barbed wire, tank traps, sandbags, mines. Although mine here, that's actually pretty clever, mining the cover that his opponent might use. Armored car down. Oh, that was a nice shot right there. Patrick Ant Pack. Bit unfortunate there. That armored car should have been pulled back completely. And floating quite a bit of resources as well for Yeti knows the way. That is not comforting. I mean, he should be spending at least something on another rifleman squad. Sort of get the most out of his resources that way. Mine down here, that's nice. Now, of course, he will be forced to retreat so as not to alert his opponent to the fact there's a mine. Come on, Yeti. And, of course, now the response is a grenade. There we go. Not the cheapest method of clearing out mines, but it gets the job done so you don't forget it. More sniper fire, getting a few full grenades on the retreat. Jolly good. But again, I think there's a lot of opportunities that Yeti knows the way it's missing, in particular because, again, now getting 2 anti-tank, and of course that's not bad. Of course he's worried about German armored vehicles and any armor. So he's thinking ahead there, but I think he also needs another rifleman squad, and a medic station would hugely benefit him as well. I think Pioneers here taking some losses. MG42 and sniper moving in. And again, note the mines from Fractional. He's quite good on mining. And again, that's making it a bit more difficult for Yeti knows the way to move about. Foot's barely dodge a mine there. Rifleman moving at the armored car. That is perhaps less great, although sticky bombs are on the way. He's got a ton of munitions, but by Jove, he's not getting the full worth out of it, I think. Minesweepers out, though. Lots of minesweepers. He's certainly taking no chances there, which is considerably nice to know. First anti-tank gun ready. Rifleman here, not really able to do much against all of these armored cars. More specifically, the heavy armored cars. Of course, we will be seeing the regular or lighter one in coming years too. We've got screenshots of that. Looks all nice and dandy, by the way. Plus, of course, heavy Soviet artillery, which also looks pretty impressive. Full screens moving in here. Snipers not opening up, interestingly enough, hoping perhaps to lure them in.
Losing ground out there. Let's put some fear into them.
Shoot. Come on, men. Krauts, ahoy. And there we go.
Losing ground.
Both snipers not firing. I mean, he's doing quite well, you know, keeping them on hold fire. That's certainly something more experienced players do, so they don't just fire willy-nilly and reveal themselves to a sniper at the wrong point. Or in this case, the sniper's all the way over here. And second anti-tank on the way. First one getting ready here. Again, he's worried about the armor cars. They can really take a chunk out of his infantry. Again, he's floating resources. He might be homing for a tank depot, which could be an idea. But the problem is, overall, he's, again, a bit too cautious in not getting the full worth out of his resources. And definitely, again, those 2 snipers hiding out, not doing anything, again, is actually only aiding his opponent. Anti-tank and choosing the less fun path. Mines down there, lovely.
Listen up, people.
Another anti-tank coming through there, not entirely sure why. And of course, another shame is I think he didn't actually get off any mines with this Greyhound. I mean, he has 50 munitions, but on the other hand, if someone treads on it, I mean, that turns Grenadiers into goulash.
They're taking one of our points.
And that actually is quite the difference. And there goes second anti-tank gun ready. He's ready to receive the German armoured cars. There's a repair bunker up. Fractional thinking ahead, of course, ensuring there is good maintenance possibilities for his armoured vehicles. And veterancy up. That is great as well. I mean, veterans who want the vehicles, 25% damage reduction. So really nice thinking there by Fractional. He's holding on to the left-hand side. Although, I mean, Theyetiknowstheway is definitely not out of the fight. I mean, he's not suffered any extensive casualties, but he's floating resources, and clearly Fractional isn't. And again, that's aiding Fractional. Not Theyetiknowstheway. Again, right from here, taking quite the pummeling. Tries to get off a sticky bomb. Anti-tank with that fire. And an observation post on the munitions. He's clearly got something involving munitions planned. Possibly a lot of mines, plus we get upgrades, who knows. But I mean, high munitions, 26 plus all of a sudden of munitions per minute rather than, you know, 16. I mean, that's a 10 munitions difference. That will, in the longer game, actually make a huge one. And there we go, first artillery strike off, almost getting a grenadier, although there's a slight trick usually to sort of, you know, how you time artillery. Usually you want it sort of when your opponent is sort of spread out with his attention. In this case, there was nothing going on elsewhere, really, which rather meant that Fractional have a much easier chance of spotting what was going on. I mean, it's sort of the same rule that applies to grenades. I mean, usually what works best is sort of trying to figure out what your opponent's not paying attention to at the moment and then hitting that. Or otherwise, you know, sort of any sort of congestional areas. Anti-tank on here. Oh dear, out in the open. Snipers force away the pioneers. Sticky bomb on the armored car. Rifleman moving in. Anti-tank gun suffering a bit there. Anti-tank gun though is still there. Snipers. Ooh, Volkskriegs could go down for Fractional. Terror is up. Firestorm has been chosen. Feuersturm. And there we go. On the anti-tank gun. Snipers are running. He's not secured or knocked out the anti-tank. The armored cars, I mean. And the Firestorm is landing. Anti-tank and crew gone. Mines off. Riflemen taking a pummeling. And the victory point is on fire. And now to add into the confusion, a Nebelwerfer has arrived. Fork or smoke launcher from the Germans. That was definitely not a happy engagement for Theyetiknowstheway, although tank depot is up. He's still got the other anti-tank gun, but he's not got much to cover it, so another infantry push from Fractional could send it going away. And there we go, rolling up the armored car. He doesn't want to secure the anti-tank gun himself, so he wrecks it. Personally, I would prefer always securing it or possibly mining it to sort of draw in additional resources, but I mean, wrecking it like that also works, I mean, in case you really don't want it. Looks like the anti-tank gun actually killed some poor slob, getting him right in the stomach with an armor-piercing round, which also pierces flesh. Trouble is, of course, anti-tank guns weren't meant to really hit small targets, which is also why they were, in fact, several cases just equipped with explosive rounds for dealing with less armored targets. But Riflemen moving in against the Volksgrenadiers, they're taking some losses. Panzer Command will soon be ready, so I mean, he's going on for the bigger stuff. Again, possibly also to try and, of course, deny the snipers most of their usage, and again, snipers can't snipe panzers. But Terror, and he's gone right-hand side, of course, he might switch back to the left-hand side and get a King Tiger in the longer run. And there we go, mines down. Sherman ready, the M4 Sherman. Of the sort of more common variant. Of course, there were plenty of variants on the Sherman theme, with different sort of suspensions, guns, and I think even some armor thickness. Rockets raking the ground. In this case, not really hitting anything. Not achieving total German victory. Certainly snipers up to 16 kills altogether. We are definitely getting somewhere that actually worth the resources. But I don't think any of them actually been able to snipe grenadiers, which again is really where they could then sort of earn themselves in. I thought there was another firestorm going in there. Armored car supporting and advanced by the Volksgrenadiers. Nice job there. Not using them as tanks, but more like support vehicles. More artillery. And we're actually seeing it on-map artillery. I'm not sure why he tried to hit there. Perhaps, I mean, this would have been a better choice, you know, where there was more stuff going on and perhaps more chance for something to get stuck. Volksgrenadiers getting blasted out by the Sherman. Jolly good.
We're losing territory.
But this, I think, was a bit of a misfire. And a good waste of a howitzer barrage. But the Panzer Command is ready now for Fractional. The 116th Panzer Division will be getting some more armor soon. Sniper supporting the anti-tank gun.
We are losing ground.
And certainly the Germans also had their fair share of rocket artillery. In fact, they had much more greater varieties in sort of, you know, size of munitions and delivery. So certainly our Firestorm, as is on another way, would certainly not be off the course. In fact, they had something similar to a Katyusha. In fact, they had vehicles firing Katyusha rockets they'd taken from the Soviets on the Western Front in Normandy, for example. So there's something there. Supplied upgrade number 1 up. That's going to help with the, of course, the upkeep for infantry. Of course, also help with gaining a bit more veterans in the longer run. MD-42 left over here. Oh, mine goes off, killing one poor bastard. Engineers are getting suppressed. Pioneers rushing in with the MP-40s. And he's actually firing into the base. He's probably hoping to get the Nebelwerfer, but already there. Fractional is moving it. A nice attempt at counter-artillery, but did not quite fully work out. So overall, I mean, he's not having a lot of luck with his artillery so far. And sadly, I mean, the Theyetiknowstheway seems to have lost some of his elasticity. I mean, he's just leaving bits here instead of, you know, trying to move in here. Again, he's not even trying, you know, some sort of flanking attack through here, which I think is quite bizarre, since most Americans tend to love doing that. But there's nothing here at all. In fact, he's just sticking to sort of, you know, massing it up here on this front, which makes it easier for Fractional to contain it. With Grenadiers, Volksgrenadiers, MGs, and Packs and Nebelwerfers. Snipers though moving up. Ooh, Grenadier actually down. That's about 40 manpower rather than the 20. And there goes Sherman, gets another kill. Propaganda war up. That's also going to make it a bit difficult. But certainly, I mean, lots of munitions still going in again. That one is definitely helping Fractional in staying in the game. Of course, get the most out of things. I mean, rarer that you see that. But, I mean, later in the game when you suddenly have perhaps a bit more breathing space, you know, get one if you can. And in particular with Terror, I mean, that's a great combination. Also with Blitzkrieg and generally, well, all doctrines generally, as the Wehrmacht can benefit greatly from extra munitions. Grenadiers advancing up here. Propaganda war sending away the rifleman there. Tank destroyer. And another firestorm to break up the American advance here. Jolly good. No, that's fine. Actually, a Nebelwerfer barrage, never mind. But a propaganda war helped. Counter-artillery going in against the medic bunker, hoping to blow out the Krauts. And what is this? The Panzerkampfwagen 5, the Panther Panzer. 116th Panzer Division did have its own battalion, but they were actually given over to the 2nd Panzer Division, which itself had to give over its Panzer Battalion to the British sector. I mean, there's a lot of confusion like that in some cases. In fact, on the Eastern Front, one division actually had a battalion of assault guns that were Belgian. I think actually they were from the Flemish region or something like that. Just to sort of really make things confusing. Though I might have been wrong. I mean, there's a slightly, again, confusion there on the Eastern Front when it comes to certain things. But yeah, I believe that was actually the case. Armored cars are rolling in. Rather than getting blasted a bit. I mean, the assault guns there was supposed to actually go to sort of, I think there was the Wallonian SS Brigade. Something like that. Rather than here, the advancing Panther gets off a nice shot. And a propaganda war keeps them away. And he's getting great use out of this. And a Panzer IV following up. Excellent, excellent. He's not just sticking to Panzer Husband, he's getting Panzer IVs. Pioneer down. Another tank destroyer up. I mean, if you can get in the Shermans... Oh, Firestorm going in on the anti-tank gun. That's definitely going to help. And there we go. Anti-tank gun crew is dead. Tank's already a bit damaged. Oh, keep that one away and get the Sherman over there. I mean, focus or escape. But don't send in just 2 tank destroyers again. That Panther, now that the Panther force also arriving. I suspect this Wolverine, though, will be gone. And there we go. Wolverine is gone. Second one needs to get away. Get away. Run away. And there we go. The tank destroyers on the run. The Panzers are on the follow-up. Artillery going on here on the western side. Another attempt at getting that medic bunker. Not quite succeeding. The armored cars continue to wreak havoc into the lines of Theyetiknowstheway. And rather than moving in, they actually managed to infiltrate through here. Catch the Angoville on off guard, and a mine actually gets the Panzer IV engine. But Angoville decrewed, and he could actually try and get off an artillery, sort of to, well, blast into oblivion. And he's... Oh, I think he should have called in on the Angoville and basically just wrecked that one so it could not be recruited by Fractional. Instead, he's intent on getting the medic bunker, which is not firing rockets at him. In fact, he hasn't really been able to do much in this match, sadly, for Fractional. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't get it. I certainly think that Theyetiknowstheway would benefit greatly, or would have benefited from a medic station.
Sherman on point.
Sherman lounging, perhaps also wondering why it's pointing in the wrong direction instead of presenting the frontal armor to the direction of the enemy is most likely to appear from, which is not this part of the map. Another anti-tank gun out. Out again, firing so far. Has only achieved 3 kills. Trying to get some grenadiers here. Oh, just can't hit. That's definitely a bit rubbish. And looks like... Oh, Theyetiknowstheway actually lost a sniper. Repair. Pioneers on the way. And the sniper gets spotted. Oh, what are you doing, Yeti? Oh, mine goes off. There's nothing to stop it, and the Panzers are on the move as well. Oh, armor car hits another mine, gets wrecked. That's definitely a huge thing for Fractional right there. And that was only done using 50 munitions all in all, those 2 mines. So hurrah there. And of course trying to clear up that anti-tank gun. Snipers opening up, anti-tank gun, another moving in. He's trying to get the German one. He's keeping himself hidden quite nicely. And artillery going in on the sniper. He's hoping to draw him out. But the sniper's not quite there. And there we go. Sniper on the retreat. More tanks on the way, but he does not have the population for it. Firestorm going in against the anti-tank gun. Sherman rolling in, but without support. It won't survive long, I fear. Still, the Panther and the Panzer IV are damaged enough. We are seeing an anti-tank gun, but again, 2 snipers could be used to support during an assault and quickly clear it out. This could actually be an engagement that Yeti could benefit greatly from. Getting a few Fultz grenadiers there. Anti-tank gun pointing in the very wrong direction. More tank destroyers moving in. Howitzer could be ready. I mean, again. Ooh, Sherman getting hit. Fultz gun is getting shot at. Rifle moving up. Anti-tank gun opening up. Sherman needs to get away. Get away. Where are the tank destroyers? Roll in, Wolverines. And there go Rifle moving in to deal with the pack. That is good. Oh dear. And this pack shot actually bounces off the Panzer. Sherman is still there. The engine is on fire. The gun is gone, but it's still there. Anti-tank gun gone. Panzer IV gone. Panther trying to get away. Gone. Mine goes off, destroying the engine. Oh, Pioneer also gone. Got squished. And got blasted the second one. And the pack is quickly recruited. Now question, of course, Yeti needs to quickly move. He needs to secure points quickly and get some engineers up to repair. I mean, he just needs to move. Damn him. I mean, this is a matter of speed. Matter of time. Now is not the time to dilly-dally. Artillery going in.
Enemy stands at 300 points.
Oh, the anti-tank gun suffers direct hit, losing the veterancy too. Oh no. Still, he can recruit and he's still got the other one. Now, of course, it's a matter for the Sherman to get away, but of course the engine is damaged. He needs some engineers up now, but sadly, yet he doesn't have any. And the Panzer Force rolling in. Tank destroyers will need to move in to delay. I mean, if he can keep that Sherman alive, that's going to help, but there's a point right next there. And if he spots it, he could call in a firestorm that is fractional. I mean, there is a slight line of sight, and yes, it's happened. He saw it. And the firestorm gets the Sherman. I mean, that is something you usually don't consider, but I mean, in this case, it would actually been safer to try and move it through there. Oh well, Sherman is gone. Anti-tank and decrewed again. And again, floating resources. I think he's hoping for an off-map combat group to save the day. But it's risky. Again, he's been floating too many resources too many times, I think. Sticky bomb damaging the engine. And the armored car limps away. Like a puncher shot in the leg. And there goes his Volker stumbling away as well. Still, the damage done right there to Fractional was actually considerable. I mean, he lost Panzer IV, Panther, and an anti-tank gun. I mean, that's still quite something. Plus, of course, that armored car was also lost in short conjunction, so there's definitely some losses here. Ultimately, though, that does not mean things are out of the woods there yet for Theyetiknowstheway. Far from it. He lost quite a bit as well himself. And again, he's floating resources. He's really, really hoping for the off-map combat group. It is all he seems to be hinging on. Sadly, he doesn't quite seem to have the luck. And there's too much just, firing into the woods randomly, trying to sort of perhaps, locate any sort of enemy anti-tangles and enemy positions that could benefit from getting blasted with a howitzer. Sadly, no attempt at really getting that needle werfer. And still no engineers to actually conduct repairs. I mean, he's really hurting.
We've got new recruits.
To say the least. And it's actually a bit of a problem that yet he never really seems to get sort of a full amount out of his resources, although he's actually gotten this sniper up to veterancy 2. There we go, Grenadier suffering a bit. Oh, 2 left and left snipers. If they get off 2 shots, that could be going off the Grenadiers. Come on, fire.
Enemy unit.
There we go, Grenadier squad down. That's actually a bit of a blow right there. 2 Fractional. The question is, will it be too little, too late? More on the way from the Panzer Command. 1100 manpower. I mean, he could at least, consider spending perhaps some resources and supply upgrades at least, so that way I'm a bit with the riflemen. But he needs to move quickly. I mean, he's clearly under some pressure, and of course he's now biting back properly. But again, the resource expenditure is not helping him. This probably hurt him in the longer run. There you go, a few Volksgunners getting sniped, shot through the head, and 2 Panzer IVs are rolling in. And there's only some heavily damaged tank destroyers to try and contain them. Points are being secured. Needler making things difficult. Propaganda war sends 1 sniper away. Tank destroyer gone. Now we can call in off-map combat group and pray that actually gets something he can use. Tank destroyer, armored car, mortar. Something. Could have been worse, I suppose. He can even call in some artillery right now if he wants it on some spot. We are seeing actually now 3 Panzer IVs out for Fractional. Quite the armoured force right there. Capable of dealing reasonably well with armour and tank destroyers and of course infantry.
105 battery here. Ready to roll.
Trying to ambush the Kraut Panzers. Lots of riflemen moving in. Will he succeed? Will he succeed in getting off all those sticky bombs? Will it just be a sticky mess? Ooh, nope. Propaganda war sorts that out. In fact, now with 3 high munitions, including 1 which is under observation post, I mean, that's hugely beneficial to Fractional. And now we are seeing the King Tiger rolling in. The Königstiger, the Tiger 2. The 2. Although this stage, I mean, it largely looks like overkill against Yeti.
Losing ground out there.
Bit of sniper fire. Now go the King Tiger rolling in. No anti-tank guns to stop that. And the route here is actually blocked by a wrecked Sherman by the looks of it. Trying to maneuver through, but again, ooh, there we go. Managed to escape. Another Panzer IV. Actually, no, that's the same one. Never mind. No. An armored car hits a mine. Destroyed engine. Oh, the inhumanity, the horror. Propaganda war stops the rifleman right there again. Great use, excessive use, even. Still good to see. Tank destroyed, destroyed engine.
Our forces are taking casualties.
But I mean, the longer you look at this game is actually a great sort of look at how you expend manpower properly and how you don't. I mean, the sort of how vital it is actually to sort of get the most out of resource you use. Another off-map combat group, largely the same, except one anti-tank gun. So not all bad, although I'm sure we'd have loved 2 tank destroyers, perhaps some Rangers. How to called in. And what, of course, is the question? There we go, moving in against the armoured car. Fultz Gunners candidates moving in. Panzer Strike. Oh, connects with the armoured car. Direct hit. Rifleman going to go down. Oh, Yeti lost the squad rifleman again. He's bleeding out. There's a return to Fractional. Oh, mine hits. Oh, that one might have actually been a Greyhound mine. Well, oh, there we go. Armoured car down. Still 3 Panzer IVs, a King Tiger and some infantry. All that. Plus, of course, the Nebelwerfer, the ever-venerable Nebelwerfer, is rather ensuring that Fractional probably won't be going out of this game unless he does something absolutely daft with his Panzer IVs and his King Tiger for that matter.
The Americans
Sniper shifting a bit back and forth.
Unit has died in heroic action.
Ooh, Pioneers actually went down.
Our opponent has 2
Small victory for those snipers. Panzer IV rolling forwards, hit by the anti-tank gun. Tank destroyer moving, hit the flank. Oh, there's more Panzer IVs ready to deal with it. And the Firestorm getting called in on that anti-tank gun. But the Panzer IV goes out of control. Hit through the frontal armor, blasted to bits. But the Firestorm sorts out that anti-tank gun and any nearby shrubbery which could hide any Yankees. And the fence for that matter. And the armored car though and the tank destroyer are dealt with in short and swift manner. Panzer IV's largely okay. Sniper though keeps adding in a few shots. And howitzer adds in. Only veterans he won. Again, I don't think he had the best of luck with his artillery. I mean, there's usually some methods for doing it, of course, and sometimes the trick is to sort of not just use it to sort of prepare for an assault, but actually use it during the assault to sort of increase the pressure on your opponent as he's being attacked, and then sort of artillery raining in, dealing sort of things where, oh, right, I had this, and then, oh, no, he's calling in artillery on my anti-tank gun. How rubbish. And that looks like another off-map combat group. And as usual, the old goat saying, you live by the combat off-map combat group, you die by the off-map combat group applies. Because really it could go either way. Sometimes you'll get something absolutely great which can win you the game, sometimes it'll do nothing, and sometimes, I mean, yeah, you'll still lose no matter what. I mean, it's not something that's going to you sort of a ridiculous advantage that's going to mean you're going to win the game if your opponent is great and you're not. It's not. On the other hand, I mean, if you're about equal, I mean, it can't give you the sort of final push you need to sort of overcome your opponent. But again, it might not. That is again the sort of double-edged part of it. Folks kind of simply getting sapped out of their life. More Nebelwerfer fire going down the victory point right here. Folks kind of is actually close hitting his own troops. Getting a bit over-eager there, I think. And there's still the American mortars to keep things covered there, and some artillery. King Tiger rolling in. Ooh, Grenadiers down there. Snipers opening up here. Getting a few Pioneers. Anti-tank gun firing away as well.
Feeling a bit naked out here.
A bit left and right, but again, overall, what Yeti can actually sort of really exert on his opponent is considerably limited at this stage. But that does not mean he's giving up. Far from it. And again, he's largely just relying on off-map command groups. And now, of course, there's a tank destroyer, anti-tank rolling, And there we go. Another tank destroyer gone on the wreck. 4th Infantry are having difficulties dealing with the Germans. A nicely well thought out defense there. King Tiger having a bit of trouble digging out the rifle right there. Of course, light cover makes your troops harder to hit. Includes everything, including tank guns, which is where it actually can make quite a difference. As note right here again, several shots have been fired, but yet the rifle as of yet actually hit them. Whereas, of course, the Fulton guns actually having a much easier time actually hitting because, again, they do fire a bit more often. There we go, rifleman down. King Tiger got the final word and absolutely obliterate the squad. Fulton guys moving in, probably to clear out the anti-mortar. No, apparently not. Anti-tank gun here sorted out. And there we go, game over for Yeti Knows the Way. Apparently he did not quite know the way. And of course, again, I think this game is rather more the sort of a good lesson in the economics of Common Heroes. You know, the manpower expenditure things, you know, how it really works. Again, floating resource again means your opponent can actually have more resources on the field and overall gain the manpower advantage as he uses that advantage on the field to drain your overall manpower. And of course, again, also the bit about, you know, having 2 snipers doing nothing. Again, that's close to 700 manpower. Again, doing nothing. And again, for what? Another opponent who's only using 340 manpower. Again, that's a huge difference. And again, I think that's one of the things that sort of in the longer run actually helped Fractional. And again, those snipers did nothing for, I think, a large part of the game. We're talking 7 to 8 minutes of just doing nothing. Again, that's manpower which could have been used on riflemen, which could have done more damage, which really could have put the pressure on Fractional, but it didn't. And those sort of things, again, sort of, rather in the end, it's short that basically Fractional just basically crushed his opponent. So, I mean, those are things you really have to pay attention to. Again, how you use your resources, how you don't use them is just as important. And again, if you're floating resources, again, don't know what to do with them, just use them. I mean, you usually learn more that way than not doing anything with them at all. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. And if you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? This is Imperial Dane saying, cheers.